It's Under the Lights on the CW. Brought to you by Dairy Queen, Alta Federal Credit Union, Heat 9 Associates, Palshay Chevrolet, and Alti Sudlink.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on Week 9 of Under the Lights on the CW. I'm Johnny Condon.
And I'm Tina Wynn. And Johnny, this was Week 9, so that means we've only got 2 weeks of regular season left. But we both know, and you guys know, there's plenty more action
Absolutely.
to come.
And, you know, knock on wood, my head here, we've gotten pretty lucky this season when it comes to weather. Tonight was our first rainy night, and you know what? It affected some of the team's ability to throw the football, especially I saw it.
Yeah.
But we'll go to our game of the week first, which was a huge one between the Pine Tree Pirates hosting the White House Wildcats. Tina, what's going on tonight?
All right, check it out. A wet night, like you said earlier. The bands were rained out, but they were still able to make some noise. In first quarter, White House quarterback Caden Casey keeps it himself for the touchdown. White House 6 and Pirates 0. Now the Pirates ball quarterback DJ Freeman loads up and finds Gabe Adams. Whew, a beautiful catch, and then just wheels his way right into the end zone. Pirates 7, Wildcats 6. White House with the ball now, and it is Caden Casey once again keeping the pigskin for himself for a large gain, and that would lead to a Wildcat score. And back to the Pirates, and it is Freeman. He will roll out and spot J.J. Sparkman in the end zone as the Pirates take a 14-12 lead. And then the Wildcats, they are not done yet because it is Caden Casey one more time weaving his way through the Pirates defense for the score. And then next drive, Freeman will hand this one off to Peyton Kennedy, and he will go up the middle for the touchdown. It's White House 28, Pine Tree 20 at the half, and White House will move to 5-0 in district with a final score of 50-36.
All right, Tina. Well, this was a game that everybody had circled on their calendars, and we were making sure that Pine Tree and White House, two of the best teams in that district. And tonight, honestly, not a surprise, but I'll tell you what. White House and head coach Marcus Gold, as you had the opportunity to speak to at 6 o'clock, that was a disciplined game to go on the road in this weather and get a victory up.
One thing he mentioned to me when I talked to him this week was this is a young team, and they actually started off the season 1-2. Now on a 5-game win streak, he said the resiliency of this young team, by the way, is what he really likes most about them.
You don't know a lot about your team until they hit adversity. And you know, Marcus Gold's team, they've fought through it. So let's head to our next game tonight. Let's head to Harrington Stadium. Now as the Brook Hill Guard was hosting McKinney. Nonetheless, it looks like it's wet there, but we might have to blow through that for the time being. Nope, let's go to Harrington Stadium. That is where big quarterback Garrett Esposito was ready to lead his team to a victory, and it was the special teams unit who showed out tonight. Big number 77, Peter Svobaka, blocks through the line, blocks the kick, and then has the presence of mind to fall on the football on the Mustang 2-yard line. And then on the very next play, Esposito, he's going to follow his big lineman after he gives off to the senior Nico Flores. He muscles his way in for 6 for the first score of the game, the first of many tonight for the Guard. Second quarter now. 3rd and 1 of the Guard. Well, they choose to go to the air, and Esposito is going to hook up with Carson Richards. 45-yard strike down to the 6-yard line. He's been making plays, big wideouts for that Taps team all year long. And then 2 plays later, 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Who do you think they're going to? You guessed it, Nico Flores again. Goes in virtually untouched, and Brook Hill takes a 14-0 lead. They'd go on to win this one by a score of 41-0. And we had a crazy game over at Rose Stadium tonight, which saw the Robert E. Lee Red Raiders hosting the Rockwall Yellow Jackets. And our Tim Wolf was at the game, and he joins us now in studio. Tim, try your best to sum this one up tonight in the Rose City.
Yeah, hey there, Johnny. Well, this was a huge 6A matchup tonight between 2 of the best teams in the state of Texas, and as expected, this one went down to the wire.
We had an awesome game tonight. And early on, it's J.J. Williams making the play.
Start off very first quarter, Rockwall. First drive of the game, J.J. Williams punches this one in. That's 7-0 Yellow Jackets. Now still in the first quarter, Bryson Donnell, first offensive play of the game for Lee, takes this one all the way to the house. That's 7-6 Rockwall. Still in the first quarter, Donnell. Another touchdown run, 14-12 Rockwall. Now in the second quarter, Donnell makes it a hat trick, at least for now. 18-14 Lee, a 2-point conversion would make it 20-14 Lee at the half. Now in the third quarter, Rockwall punches in 2 scores to take a 28-20 lead, but the Red Raiders weren't ready to lay down. Jamarian Miller is going to go all the way. That makes it 28-26 Rockwall. Fourth quarter, in the waning moments of the game, Rockwall still leads, but Bryson Donnell breaks everything open, 32-28 Lee. Unfortunately for the Red Raiders, this would not be enough, and the Yellow Jackets would finish this one on top, 35-32.
And the road for the Red Raiders doesn't get any easier. Next week, they'll travel to Longview to take on the defending state champions. And I know everyone is talking about Jamarian Miller, but at the same time, they have a bit of a two-headed monster over there between Miller and Bryson Donnell, who showed tonight he is not to be overlooked. In studio, Tim Wolf, CBS 19 Sports.
Thanks so much, Tim. And you know what?
That would be a big one, Longview and Tyler Lee.
We're really looking forward to that. But I know, obviously, earlier in the year, Jamarian Miller was our East Texas Professional Credit Union Player of the Week for Week 2. And, I mean, what can we speak to that two-headed monster they have in the backfield that Tim was alluding to earlier?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think for one thing for Tyler Lee, their running game has been what has been our focus this week.
Their bread and butter all year long.
For sure.
Absolutely. You know what else has been their bread and butter here on Under the Lights? It's been unbelievable games between Van and Kilgore. Huge district game. And early on, we're going to have a huge run down the sideline for the Kilgore Bulldogs, number 21. That would be Trevion Eaps. He's in for the touchdown. Later, that's a fumble on the play. How about the Vandals coming up with it, playing big defense on the road? And then, rolling to his right, the quarterback. And it's going to be picked off by number 24, Zach Williams. The senior makes a huge play in this big rivalry game. Vandals later are going to throw a little bubble screen out to the wideout. Number 1, Jukes one man, gets the seam, and and he's violently tackled. This game is not for the faint of heart. Later on, it's Kilgore again. Beautiful progression through the pocket into the end zone. Boom. Touchdowns galore in this unbelievable contest between two deserving teams. And the final out here, Tina, it's going to be Kilgore 20, Van 14.
All right, good win for Kilgore now. Huge district game for Henderson and Chapel Hill tonight as they are both fighting for playoff positions. First quarter, this is the second play of the game, by the way. Caleb Medford will keep this one for himself, and he is off to the races, tiptoeing down the sidelines. And it is a 50-yard run from the senior quarterback as he's taken down inside the 25. Moments later, senior Colin Everett under center now for the Lions. Now he will find Jarian Fuller for the touchdown. Pass, Lions draw first blood quick. It's 7-0. First possession for the Bulldogs. Check this out. Kobe Coker hits Tanner Rudd first, and he will find Tyson Berry as he's hoping to find the end zone, but it's taken out of bounds. A little double pass action from the Bulldogs tonight, and Bulldogs will go on to score shortly after as Kenyon Thomas will run it in from 3 out, and it's tied at 7 in the first quarter. And the final score for this one would be Henderson 63-35. And then Sabine hosting Mineola tonight as they look to stay undefeated. Sabine quarterback Landon McKinney throws the ball to Jace Burns, working hard to try to get a first down. And McKinney again with the possession, this time gaining 5 yards for the Cardinals. And then, hey, it's McKinney again with the possession this time, and it will be good for the first down. And hey, we got to get more McKinney tonight. He will drop back and pass to Caden Harden, but he is stopped by the Mineola defense, but that sets them up right here. 38-yard field goal, and that is good. Mineola. Running back, Travion Sneed will take the snap, but can't get any footing with that wet field, causing a loss of 1 yard on the next play. And, well, Ruck Sharp and his Sabine Cardinals will remain undefeated, 8-0 overall. 4-0 in district as they win with the final score 31-6.
I mean, don't go anywhere now because we are just getting things started here on Under the Lights. We're going to have much more East Texas high school football, including a look at Chris Cochran's Lindale Eagles. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Under the Lights. I'm Tina Nguyen. Well, we've now reached week 9 of the East Texas high school football season, and we've heard some amazing stories from some of the smartest teachers, leaders, and coaches in our communities. And there's always been one common theme between all these head coaches, and that's their emphasis on accountability, because for DIBOLL High School's Blake Morrison, accountability leads to dependability, and dependability leads to results on the scoreboard. And our week 9 WHATABURGER Coach of the Week tells us more. As one might expect, success doesn't happen overnight. It's about the hours of dedication and hard work put day in and day out. And for the 7-0 DIBOLL Lumberjacks, the journey to success has been in the making.
We've been from one end of the spectrum to the other. I think when I got here, I think the program had 1 win in the entire program. It's just been a lot of hard work. It really has. And it's not so much that we teach our kids X's and O's. We teach them basically, these boys, of how to be men and grow up and be, learn the little things of character, integrity, and there is no such thing as entitlement, love, all that kind of stuff. We work on those things, and the X's and O's will take care of itself.
In his 6th season with the Lumberjacks, Blake Morrison has paved the way to 4 playoff appearances and their first ever playoff win since 2002.
Every year we talk about raise the bar. We come in here and we work on every day that ends in Y. It's one of those things where it's second nature to us now. But it started with a bunch of guys, trying to learn things, trying to teach them the good and the bad, and the hard and the easy. And once we got through that first year, we started, we thought we turned it around a little bit the next year, going 7-3 and making the playoffs. And then we kind of lost our way. And we found it again after we had to take some lumps.
It only takes one moment to change everything. In the 2017 playoffs, DIBOLL suffered a 28-15 loss against the Gilmer Buckeyes. It was a defining moment for the Lumberjacks.
That game was a turning point, and that was a loss. But we talked about how do we start something, how do we get it going. It just takes one match to burn down the world. So the thing was, we just needed one group to step up, and they played hard. And we played with a bunch of freshmen and sophomores and some great senior leaders there. We had some juniors on the team, but we took that group and we started building, and here we are today.
With a roster filled with veterans, the Lumberjacks are currently outscoring their opponents 291-33. For Coach Morrison, it's one simple goal that he reminds his team every day.
Our goal is real simple. We just want to win the last game. That's it.
For WHATABURGER Coach of the Week, I'm Tina Nguyen.
Nice job, Tina. These packages are great. I look forward to them every week. Something about Coach Morrison.
Nice,
I know, aren't I the best? Something that he talks about is accountability and dependability. They say your best availability is your best ability is your availability. Okay. And for Coach Morrison, I mean, this is a guy that's built this program from the ground up. So obviously, nothing is given, everything is earned in this program. Was that the vibe you got when you went to visit?
Oh, for sure. Like you said, building this program from the ground up. I mean, last season was their first playoff win since 2000. Wow. So yeah, he said the turning point for him was when they went up against Matt Turner and his Gilmer Buckeyes in 2017 playoffs, where they lost 28-15. He said that was just the turning point for all of us. And that same group of senior guys right now, they played in that game. So they are,
absolutely. Yeah, you can stay within 2 scores of the Gilmer Buckeyes. You're doing something right, because that's a darn good program. Speaking of darn good programs, how about those Lindale Eagles taking on the Mount Pleasant Tigers? Opening handoff, or I should say opening kickoff here, and Mount Pleasant gets off to about as good of a start as you could hope for. Is that Devin Hester? No. Instead, it's Edward Wilder going buck wild, 85 yards, zigging and zagging, juking his way into the end zone. That's a statement to start on the road, and it's 7-0 Cats. Later on, Lindale's Sam Peterson. He's going to hand off to Connor Boyette, 15-yard scamper down close to the goal line. And then how about you give it to the big bulldozing back, former East Texas Professional Credit Union Player of the Week, Jordan Jenkins, rumbles his way in the middle to make it 7-6 Birds. Later, Lindale, again, Peterson passes it off to Jenkins, making people miss, gets the big first down, and then Peterson facilitating all night long. He finds a wide open Colton Beeler for the 15-yard touchdown, 13-7 Eagles. Later, They're going to go for 2. Peterson hands off to Boyette, who throws the double pass to Dylan Warrell, and it's 14-7 Lindale in their bag of tricks. And at the end of this one, it was the Eagles who get a much-needed win at home over Mount Pleasant by a score of 41-28. Jefferson Bulldogs versus those Atlanta Rabbits. Game is tied at 7 at halftime, and Jefferson quarterback Kalen Thomas is going to throw to Kenneth Bell, who makes a great catch. Later, the Bulldogs going to settle for a field goal here by number 18, Landon Fuquay, with a beautiful kick in the elements, never easy. Later, Atlanta with the handoff to number big 25, Keith Kennedy, or Kinney, I should say, excuse me. That's a big run down the far sideline. And then it's Cameron Dickerson. Gets the next carry, and he scampers in to the end zone, to the left pylon. That's a big one for a big touchdown. I love those Atlanta uniforms. Tina does too. They're maroon like her Aggies. Later, Thomas scrambling, looking for someone, improvising. This is what makes athletes great, just drawing it up in the backyard in a little wheel route. He's going to find number 12, Christian Shepard, my good Shepard. Take it all the way into the end zone for a Bulldog touchdown. But at the end of the day, it was too much Rabbits. Atlanta, the ATL, they get a big one, 28-24.
Hey, too much Rabbits, Johnny? Very nice. All right, Carlisle taking on Union Grove tonight as they are looking to rebound after a loss to Alto last week. First drive of the game, handoff to Carlisle running back Jamion Turner, and he just muscles it in for the score. Carlisle, it goes up 6-0. The next Carlisle possession, it's quarterback Carlos DeLeon with the option to Jamion Turner again. He makes a defender miss, and after that, it's just a race to the finish. Turner takes this one 70 yards to the house. No one close to bringing him down. Carlisle up 13-0. Union Grove with the ball now, going for it on 4th down, but Carlisle Luis Oliveras says, no, sir, not today, and Carlisle runs off with this one with the final score of 41-7. And don't you go anywhere, because we're just getting started here on Under the Lights. We got more highlights after the break.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us tonight on Under the Lights on the CW. Well, it's another week. That means it's time to crown our next East Texas Professional Credit Union Player of the Week. And our Week 8 East Texas Professional Credit Union Player of the Week, well, it's junior Pine Tree quarterback DJ Freeman.
They say don't judge a book by its cover, and that's never been more evident when evaluating quarterbacks. Drew Brees is 6 foot tall, but he's also a Super Bowl champion and the all-time leading passer in NFL history. Russell Wilson is 5'11", but he's also a Super Bowl champion and a 6-time Pro Bowler. Doug Flutie is 5'10", and yet he's a Heisman Trophy winner and the author of one of college football's most iconic moments. Sense a theme? It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And Pine Tree quarterback DJ Freeman, well, he's a fighter.
I'm just really proud of how much he's matured. You know, he played last year as a sophomore for us and was more of a running threat. And, you know, and this year he's really matured in the passing game and making decisions and reads and things like that. So I'm not surprised any award he gets. He's a good player.
It's really all my teammates and the coaches calling the right plays. But yeah, last year I wanted to run. This year I wanted to pass a lot.
And the quarterback who's already raked in his fair share of awards is a man of few words. Instead of talking about it, he chooses to be about it. And that was on display last Friday night, as the Pirates quarterback rushed for 125 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground, and passed for 222 yards and 2 more scores through the air, and a 38-28 win over Nacogdoches.
You know, he's an electric kid, so anytime the ball's in his hands, usually good things happen, and the whole offense kind of runs around him and how we do up front. And that's what you want. You know, you want the guy that has the ball in his hands the most to change the game, and he has the ability to do that.
And Freeman knew he was destined to play quarterback at a very young age.
My dad told me, he knew as soon as I picked up a football, I was going to play.
And for head coach Kerry Lane, having Freeman out there as his quarterback is like having an extension of the coaching staff on the field.
It's tremendously important. We don't get to be out there with them. You know, I tell the coaches all the time we're out of eligibility. So the guys out there got to do the job, and it starts with the quarterback. You know, he's got to get everybody lined up, and he's got to be steady in the boat out there in the huddle. And when you got a guy like that, you always have a chance.
And with DJ only being a junior, he has a chance to break a good number of East Texas records. But that's not what's important to him. He just enjoys playing for his teammates.
It goes super fast, but I'm trying to enjoy it. I like it. All my teammates, like brothers to me.
All All right, Johnny, first off, I see you putting a little Tom Brady in there.
No, me? Never.
But I have gotten the chance to talk with Coach Kerry Lane a couple times.
Yes, you did his WHATABURGER Coach of the Week
piece.
piece.
That's right, and he has raved so much about DJ Freeman. Was there anything surprising you learned about him?
Well, nonetheless, I said it in the package earlier. He doesn't say a lot, but his actions speak louder than his words. I mean, he's only a junior. He played quarterback for them last year as a sophomore. So when you're thrust into that QB1 position at such a young age, you learn a lot on the fly. There's a lot of things you don't know playing with the big boys when you're the varsity because, again, these kids, when you're a sophomore in high school, not as maybe fully developed as a junior or a senior, but he plays up to his level of competition. He's got J.J. Sparkman, his big wide receiver, who might be the best wideout in all of East Texas.
He was actually out for 3 games at the beginning of the season due to like an elbow injury, and when I talked to Coach Lane, he said he's coming back, and it seems like he just has not missed a beat.
He hasn't. He comes back, he makes plays for his team, and when he's done making plays here in East Texas, he's heading out to West Texas to join Matt Wells and the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Lubbock? Yeah, Red Raiders.
Lubbock Private. The last thing about DJ Freeman before we get to our next highlight again, because I could rave about this kid all day, his dual threat ability. Last year, he was more primarily a runner. This offseason, he made an attempt to make sure, hey, I'm going to make a concerted effort to stay in the pocket, try to throw the ball, not completely abandoning his mobility, scrambling outside the pocket, but, I mean, the ability that he's just able to have to do both. It's just it's a double-headed monster for defenses to defend here in East Texas.
A lot of talent here in East Texas. Yeah. Beast Texas, I should say.
Beast Texas. And speaking of a lot of talent, let's head to Mount Enterprise as they were looking to stay undefeated over Overton. I love those Overton unis. Look like the old Philadelphia Eagles. Start of the second half. Mount Enterprise quarterback Kendra Miller steps back and takes the entire Overton defensive line to take him down for that sack. Nonetheless, that is a negative play. That makes it 3rd and long for Mount Enterprise. And Miller steps back, sees no one and calls his own number, rolls right, gets a key block from his receiver, stiff arms, cuts in, and is finally brought down after a 40-yard carry. Somebody get that kid some chocolate milk. Then that sets up this play. Miller finds Tate Tilley in the end zone. Getting silly. Tate Tilley. That's a touchdown. Mount Enterprise runs with this one over Overton by a score of 46-6. Later, let's go to a big game between Pleasant Grove and Liberty EYLAU. The beginning of the 3rd quarter starts with a running play by the Hawks, who picks up really good yardage. Watch this back go, cut in and out. You will not bring me down. It's wet and slippery out there, kids. Remember your fundamentals. You got to wrap up later. Pleasant Grove fools everyone with a deep pass down the sideline, including the cameraman, and he's in for the end zone. Sergio Rodriguez with a touchdown. Olay, let's go nuts. It's 31-6, Pleasant Grove. Short time later, PG does it again with a pass to number 44, Marcus Burris. He's in for the touchdown to make it 38-6. Pleasant Grove keeps rolling along. They beat Liberty EYLAU by a score of 45-6. Tina?
All right, let's check in on the WASKOM Wildcats and the Dangerfield Tigers now. Teams meet in midfield for the pregame handshake. WASKOM with the ball first as a pitch out to number 7, DJ Fester, who picks up a huge gain for the Wildcats. And then quarterback, it is Josh Reeves with the quarterback keeper, and it is a Wildcat touchdown. And then later in the game, check out this WASKOM defense giving the Tigers a bit of some trouble tonight as Eris Wilson will get the tackle. And hey, we just mentioned that WASKOM defense. We'll watch as DJ Fester almost gets the pick for the Wildcats, but Dangerfield takes it 56-35. Seems like that Wildcat defense wasn't too much of a trouble for the Tigers.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen some unbelievable games thus far. Despite the elements, we've seen some good offensive football, a lot of high-scoring teams. And don't go anywhere, Tina. You know why? You're not running off quite yet because we're not done with this show.
Johnny.
After the break, we're going to take a look at some more scores from across East Texas. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Under the Lights on the CW. Hey, welcome back, everybody. You're watching Under the Lights on the CW. Tina, as we get ready to conclude Week 9 show, wouldn't be finished without checking on some of the big scores from across East Texas.
We can't leave anybody out, Johnny.
And, you know, Tim Wolf was in the studio earlier talking about how Robert E. Lee will head to Longview next week for a huge 6A matchup. Well, Longview, they're licking their chops and they're ready. They beat down North Mesquite on the road tonight in the Metroplex by a score of 55-0. How about the Lufkin Panthers? They get a big win, 52-7, I should say. Jacksonville and Hallsville. How about the Indians? A huge win, gets their 2nd win of the year over the Bobcats. In Nacogdoches and Marshall, a high-scoring game. It's 44-20. Sina?
All right, we got to keep this thing going with Athens and Quillen Ford. Athens will win it with 34-20. And then Carthage and Palestine. Carthage staying undefeated. That score 43-0 in Pittsburgh. And Gilmer tonight. Gilmer, Matt Turner and his Buckeyes 28-6. And then Brownsboro and Rusk
Brownsville 44-35.
Not done yet. Canton and Wills Point. Wills Point get this one by a score of 35-14. In Gladewater, how about the Bears? They head into White Oak and they beat up on them by a big score. West Rusk and Tatum. Tatum, that's a final. They beat that's a huge win. 29-24, one of the bigger upsets of the night. And ARP gets blanked by Harmony. Troop, they beat Alba Golda 42-26. And Winona, they get a big win over undefeated Grand Saline 34-24. Well, Tina, as we say goodnight to each other, first thing, go home, light up a fire, put on your raincoat, get your umbrella inside. Hopefully next week the weather will be better for us. So
and don't forget to come back next week.
Absolutely.
We're here.
We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks so much.